Hi students, in the last class we discussed about ascent of sap. In that ascent of sap, there is two parts are there. One of the part is the root pressure. See, the root pressure means within the roots initially minerals are accumulated. That minerals are supporting for the accumulation of water. So once the minerals are entered into the root cells, in root cells, whatever that water potential is there, the water potential is decreased, right? Then from the soil, the root hairs absorbs the water, because always the water transporting from high water potential to low water potential, right? So that is about that root pressure. Regarding to the root pressure, in the last class also we discussed there is a bleeding process is there, right, and guttation process is there. So these are the effects of the root pressure. So that is about the root pressure. And coming to the next one is the transpiration pull. This is also called cohesion tension transpiration pull. This is also called cohesion tension transpiration pull. I will explain, one of the experiment is also there. So here majorly three forces are supporting for the transportation of water molecules against to the gravitational force. Against to the gravitational force. I already said this is the one of the plant, right, and this is the root. So within the root, the water absorption majorly done by the root pressure. Root pressure. So that root pressure is the positive hydrostatic pressure. Root pressure is the positive hydrostatic pressure. After that, within the stem part, or from root to tip of the shoot pot, from root to tip of the shoot pot, the water molecules are transported by the transpirational pull mechanism. Transpirational pull mechanism. This is the negative hydrostatic pressure. This is the negative hydrostatic pressure, right? So within the transpiration pull mechanism, majorly three forces are there. One is called cohesive force. One is called cohesive force. Cohesive force means here we know, okay, water molecules, within the water molecules always attraction is present. Within the water molecules always attraction is present. So between same type of molecules attraction is present. Between same type of molecules attraction is present. So that kind of forces are called as cohesive forces. Whatever the molecules are there, all these molecules are same. So the same molecules are, okay, between the same molecules there is an attraction is there. So the mutual attraction between same type of molecules, okay, that force is called as cohesive force. So what is the use of cohesive force? For suppose this is the one of the xylem vessel. Within the xylem vessel, okay, if the attraction is present between the water molecules, if the attraction is present between the water molecules within the xylem vessels, without any break, the water molecules are transported continuously. The water molecules are transported continuously. Very simple. This is the xylem vessel. Within the xylem vessel, right, water molecules are present. Always between water molecules attraction is present. That attraction is supporting for the continuous column, means continuous molecules. Continuous molecules are, means continuously the water molecules are transported without any breaks. So that is about the cohesive forces. That is about the cohesive forces. And coming to the next one is the adhesive forces. See, cohesive is always present between the same type of molecules. Adhesive is present between two different types of molecules. So we know here these are the xylem vessels. There is an lignin component. These are the, okay, the xylem vessels are majorly made up of with lignin components. So if we discuss about the attraction between lignin and the water molecules, or xylem vessels and the water molecules. Xylem vessels and the water molecules. This is one of the column. This is one of the column. Within this column, here water molecules are present. Water molecules are present. So here, whatever that initial or upper part of the water, very upper part of the water is there. So this is about the this is about the continuous column of water molecules. Continuous column of water molecules. If we observe the upper part of the water, see there is a slightly higher than the walls, especially walls of the xylem vessels, and the water molecules. If you observe slightly, the water molecules are showing the higher level than the normal level. This is the normal level. This is the water level. This is the normal level. But if we observe the edges, there is a slightly higher level than the water molecules are attached to the walls here. The water molecules are attached to the walls. See, this is nothing but adhesive forces. See, the adhesive forces means always the forces are present two different types of molecules. Here, one is the water molecules, other one is that xylem vessel. Xylem vessel contains lignin components. So whatever that the upper layer of the water is there, that upper layer, if we observe slightly higher than the normal level, the level of the water is slightly higher than the normal level, especially the margins. See, that one is explaining adhesive forces. So adhesive forces are supporting for the transpirational pull, and the cohesive forces also supporting for the transpirational pull. So this one initially moving, the adhesive forces are initially moving, followed by the cohesive forces are moving, right? That is about the adhesive forces. And last one is the surface tension. Within that surface tension, there is a tensile strength is there and capillary force is there. Tensile strength is there, and next one is the capillary force is there. See here, attraction between the water molecules, ability to resist pulling force. See, this is also like cohesive forces, but this one is especially giving the resistance to pulling force. For suppose this is the one of the xylem vessel. If the atmosphere act on the xylem vessels, this is one of the force. The force is acting on the xylem vessels. That time, the xylem vessels are resisting. That force is resisted by the xylem vessels, because if we one of the straw, if we add it within the thumbs up bottle or the coconut bottle, if we are continuously drinking water, that time one kind of force is acting on the straw. So the straw walls are try to arrange the very closely, because we are applying continuously force. Then the straw walls, initially the straw structure is like this. If we are applying the force continuously, the straw walls are arranged very closely. Due to the reason is here we are applying the force. Here also same thing. Atmosphere acting on that the xylem vessels. It's producing the force. The force is acting on the xylem vessels, because here continuously water is transporting. That time here initially this is the xylem vessel structure. If the atmosphere acting on the xylem vessels, that time here the xylem vessels forms the bended structures. Due to the reason is one of the force is acting. That force is also resisted by the water molecules. Because if the continuously water molecules are transporting, that force is not affecting the xylem vessels. If the water molecules are not have that attraction capacity, definitely at one point the xylem vessels are broken down. But normally most of the plants, we are not seeing that breakage of the xylem vessels because of the tensile strength. So attraction between water molecules, ability to resist the pulling force. This is the pulling force. Okay, here attraction between the water molecules, that force, okay, acting on the xylem vessels, reversely. Actually, here one side atmosphere is acting. Okay, whatever that column is there, within the column, the water molecules also acting in opposite direction. The water molecules also acting in opposite direction. So this is called as tensile strength. This is called as tensile strength. Last one is the capillary force. We know about that capillary force. Capillary force is majorly depends on the diameter. For suppose this is one of the beaker. This is one of the beaker, and this is one of the tube, right? And this is the diameter. Okay. Here this is about the water level. This is about the water level. So this is the another. This is the another tube, right? And here the diameter is very less. The diameter is very less. So here, if the diameter is very less, the water molecules, okay, moved higher than the first one. Here water molecules height is higher than the first one. See, very simple. If the diameter is more, okay, the water absorption capacity is less. Water absorption capacity is less, or water capillary action is less. Diameter is less. Diameter is less, right? Water absorbing capacity is more. Water absorbing capacity is more, or the capillarity, okay, the capillary forces are more when the diameter is less. The capillary forces are less when the diameter is more. When the diameter is more, capillary forces are less. Okay, when the diameter is less, okay, the capillary forces are more. The capillary forces are more, right? So that is about that the transpirational pull mechanism. This is also called cohesion tension transpirational pull. And one of the experiment is also given, and I will explain now that experiment. See, coming to the next experiment is the cohesion tension transpiration pull experiment. This experiment is proven by or conducted by the Dixon and the Jolly. So here one of the capillary tube is taken, one beaker is there, and the beaker contains the water, right? That capillary tube, one end is connected with the sponge. Here atmosphere act on the sponge, then sponge contains water molecules are evaporated. So here beaker contains water, here the beaker contains the water is entering into the capillary tube, right? Again from capillary tube to the water is entered to the sponge to atmosphere, right? So this is one of the evidence for the transpirational pull mechanism. So within the plants, soil contains the water. The soil contains water is entering to roots. Roots water is entering to the xylem vessels too, right? Next one is whatever that leaves are there. Okay, the water molecules are entering to the leaves, and leaves to atmosphere, right? So this is the experiment is called as cohesion tension transpirational pull, right? And this is done by or conducted by the Dixon and the Jolly, right? So this is one of the evidence for the transpirational pull mechanism. And the two important words are there within this concept. One is cavitation. Cavitation is nothing but during water molecules transport within the xylem vessels, small bubbles are formed. If the small bubbles are formed, okay, that step is called as cavitation during the water transportation within the xylem vessels. Okay, break of column or lack of water in certain conditions, small air bubbles are formed. The small air bubbles are called as cavitation. The small air bubbles formation is called as cavitation, right? And one of the other one is also there, embolism. Here embolism means all these small bubbles forms the large bubbles. Small bubbles forms the large bubble. within the xylem vessels, if the large bubbles are formed, large air bubbles are formed, right, which are called as, okay, the condition is called as embolism, right? One is the embolism, other one is the cavitation. So this is about that cohesion, tension, transpirational pull, and before to this one we discussed about the root pressure, right? See, next one we'll discuss about the transpiration process.